What's up, y'all? I'm KC.
And I'm Tyler.
And we are The Element, and today we're testing corn flavors. So we hunt a ton of public land, but we also hunt some private around our house. Pretty much whatever we can get on, we're gonna go hunt it.
Corn is king in Texas, so what we're gonna do is we've got a bunch of flavors: acorn, apple, persimmon, and cherry. And we're gonna test that against the control group of corn, and we're gonna see which one the deer prefer with this here trail camera. Let's go. So we actually have a taste tester in the house. The man behind the camera, KC, is a taste tester. And he has informed us that these are in fact marketed towards humans, right? So it looks sugary and sweet and cherry-like. I mean, like cherry pie, but it's not. He says all these flavors are actually kind of salty and a little bit more bland than you would think they were. But the individual flavors actually have a smell to them that represents what they say on the packaging. So maybe that attracts the deer in a preferential way. We'll find out here in a minute, but we're gonna talk about the process once we get out. First thing we're going to do is actually weed eat out this little section right here so the camera can see what's going on. But we're in the feeder pen right here so that the hogs don't get to the bait.
And then we're going to mix the corn up in these buckets right here with all the flavorings. And then we're going to put these signs with labels so we know which pile is what. And we're going to see what happens. So cut the time lapse so you can see what we do. All right, so this little piece of smart siding right here is about 4 inches or so. That's how I measured how much corn we're gonna put in each bucket. We'll put that there and yada, 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 all the way down. And then we're gonna pour about down to the green line of each one of these right there into the bucket to make sure it's all fair and square. This is a little different. I don't know how we're gonna do this for sure. Maybe about half the thing. I think we might mix a little water in there just to make sure it sticks to the corn, but we're gonna do that in all 4 of these buckets, 5 of these buckets. One of those is not going to have anything in it. That's a control group where the corn's going to be. And then we're going to put it back there behind us, write labels on the signs, and set that Moultrie Delta to see what deer like.
Okay, so now we're gonna put out this trail camera and it connects to an app. It's a cell camera. So we're gonna pull up the app and check the framing on this camera and see if these buckets are framed correctly. And if they are, we're gonna go ahead and drive those signs in the ground and pour it out and prepare for deer to just come flocking in. I mean, we're gonna have to watch ourselves, I think.
Smells delicious. I'm tempted to go 2 different ways. The skeptic in me just has the hypothesis that the regular corn flavor is gonna be eaten the most. But for the sake of experiment, I'm gonna pick one of the flavorings, persimmon, because the deer here are used to eating persimmon. It's a little early in the year for it, but that's what I'm gonna pick. What about you?
I'm in the same boat. I think that corn is, I think we're gonna hardly see any differentiation. I would like to see differentiation. I would like to see them actually eat what smells like my favorite, that's the acorn. And I think that there are a lot of oak trees back here, so maybe there's something, but it smells more like butter pecan to me. So like, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. But I'm ready to look at these trail camera pictures for sure.
We got all the data, all the corn is gone now, so we're gonna show a quick time lapse and we will talk about the results.
So we tallied up things by watching when a deer would dig its nose into the ground near a certain pile. That's how we figured out which deer were eating which piles. And then when they would leave real quickly and come back later on, that was another instance where they came back to a same pile or a different pile.
So in the beginning, Tyler and I both kind of thought that the corn, unflavored, would be probably the most preferential. And then we also made predictions on which flavor would be the best. Persimmon.
The acorn.
And we do, in fact, have the results. Did you say acorn or acorn?
The acorn. I think I said acorn earlier.
I figure you said acorn.
I can say them both, though.
Yeah, can you?
I'm bilingual.
Ooh, I have a hard time with that. But, so we tallied them all up, right? We left little check marks. When a doe would leave and come back, even if it was the same deer or buck, we would count that as a new occurrence, okay? And it's mixed reviews, honestly. It's so hard to be scientific about this stuff because we're in the wild and there's always variables that you cannot account for. However, all the piles got hit quite a bit, but the thing that stuck out to me, at least, was that persimmon and corn were the two that got hit the most, the earliest. And I think, what do you think was happening with that?
So I have a couple of hypotheses as to what was happening here. For me, especially the buck that we saw several times there, he was coming in and eating the corn. Pretty much that was all he was doing, especially early, the unflavored corn. And I think what I've seen in the past is like when you put a bunch of corn out, a big pile, the dominant deer, and usually it's a buck. It's weird how does don't really quite do this, even if they're the dominant doe. But a buck will come and stand right in the middle of that pile. And I think that's what it was, is there was corn right here. He just went right to the middle of it. I don't know if it necessarily, if he had just, you know, a sweet tooth for just the corn or what, but I think that was kind of one of the things. And then I also think that persimmon was also the furthest away from trees.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a comfort thing for them. We might have to try some different variables at some point on this.
Yeah, if y'all want us to do something different with this, let us know in the comments. I think that the deer really are used to the persimmon smell. I mean, you've got really good persimmon trees right there, so I really think that that made a difference. But like I said, as it all went along, they all got hit.
Yeah. The acorn didn't smell like acorn.
No.
What did it
smelled like butter pecan.
Yes.
It smells so good. But that's not something that the deer really cared too much about. I mean,
it actually got hit one of the least, probably.
Yeah, probably second or third. Pretty much. Cherry is the worst. Don't put the cherry out. At least where we live. I don't know, maybe in a place where there are cherries that's different, but not good. Apple, cherry, and acorn are all not what I would go with. Around here, I wouldn't mind putting the persimmon on there, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that it showed to be like way cooler than the corn.
I don't even know if it has the same amount of tallies as the corn does.
It's a weird deal. It might have ran out sooner though too. So I think if we ever redo this experiment, we're going to kind of face the camera down so we can actually see the corn pile. Like if the persimmon ran out within the first 3 or 4 days, we don't really know that from this angle, and that's why they kind of stopped hitting it. But anyways, if you like this video and you want to figure out more about this trail camera, go check out that video up there. And remember, this is your element.